Welcome back to the YouTube Barber Academy. Let's thank these sponsors. If you guys need anything from Gamma, use the code Eddie. It's going to save you 10% off. You know they got some great products, but when you are not going with Gamma, you can also use 614 Barber Supply. You can use the code Eddie. That will save you some money. And if you're looking for a great scheduling app, Booked In, they got you covered. Let's go. Okay, phase one, let's go. First thing we got to do before we put the lines in, before we do anything, we need to get rid of some of this bulk. So if you notice, I'm pretty light. I'm not trying to create a huge line here. I'm just kind of lifting up, and I'm going to begin them upper steps by doing that. And we're just going to get rid of this bulk. That way we could actually see what we're doing, and we're going to put in our skin line. Now, when we put on our skin line, we need to be thinking about our skin lines. I like to curve them because if you really think about that, that's going to help you preserve the edge. That's going to help you make the fade look a little bit different and contour the scalp. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to put this in. And I know this question is going to come up, so I'm going to go ahead and get this out there right now. I am actually using the Protege combo. This is a very affordable combo that Gamma sells, and if you guys use my code, you can save 10% off on it. But I think it's like $140. You get the clipper and the trimmer, and I didn't do anything to them. They come with a taper blade on it, which is why I wanted to show this fade in particular. I actually showed this on the live. I actually did this cut live on one of my lives, and if you guys want to tune into those lives, if you want to see when they're going to happen, man, just hit that button and select that notification. Once I'm done and I have that at the length I want, let's keep in mind that that only cuts at 3 zeros, and we want to get it down to 5 so we could use our electric shaver. We covered this in detail in the phase 1 video, but just to say, when we come up towards that line, we're sort of flicking out. We're not trying to create extra work for ourselves, but we are trying to get that down to that 5-0 length. And use the tool that makes the most sense. If you got clients that got their hairs just like growing off the corner of their ear, yeah, I'll use the razor there. And I'm going to come up underneath, flicking out when I get to the end of where I did my 5-0 line. I'm using the Uno in those little small areas, and then across the back, I'm going to use my bigger machines. Bronze Series 9 doesn't get super close, but the Prodigy here does, so I finish it up with that. Okay. We're going to do some shear over comb and some clipper over comb. So I want to get some of this bulk out of my way, and we went really deep on this. I want you guys to pay attention to what my pinky's doing underneath. Everybody's so focused on the comb and the clipper, but the secret sauce to this, the way to stay anchored, the knuckle or the pinky, using something to keep myself steady. And we talked about that an awful lot in that video. And of course, there's a bunch to this technique. This can take you years to master, but you can check out that video. It'll definitely give you something to shoot for, and you'll be doing pretty good with this. And this is going to help you save a lot of time. You're not going to be going through 5-10 guards to try to get it done. So all I'm doing is I'm trying to remove bulk in this process. I'm not really trying to make the blend perfect. Don't really care. Then I'm going to wet the hair. I'm going to comb the hair down. That's going to kind of show me where all the little mistakes, like I want to take care of those. So I'm going to use some shear over comb now, and I'm really connecting them sides to the top now, and it's going to help me. And also it's going to save me time when I get around to cutting the top, because I've already taken care of that. So there's going to be a very minimal amount of hair to cut as I come down off the parietal ridge. Now I'm really focusing on the hair that's at the very bottom of my comb. I like using a taper comb during this process, preferably like a gray one or a bright color, so you can actually see what the hair looks like, because if you got the black comb. But the shear over comb video did really well, and we really break down the technique, what you need, why you need what you need, how to hold it, and all the different techniques that come into play here. But basically, I've created a nice start point by shaving the bottom and doing all that, and I've created my end point by addressing the parietal ridge. So with that being said, we're going to move on, and we're going to cut the top. Okay, so the first part to cutting the top, I'm always going to separate the hair after wetting it. I'm going to comb the bangs down, and I'm going to make sure that they're straight. Now this client wears his hair straight back, so it doesn't really make a huge difference. Like if these bangs were a little crooked, I don't think it would make a huge difference, but I don't want that to happen. Like I don't want him to wake up one day and his, he finds out he's got one long hair in his bangs that I just like, looks like I missed them. So we're addressing the perimeter, and that's why a lot of people are like, oh, I don't want to learn how to cut women's hair. Like the blunt cut is going to teach you about the perimeter, and we're going to go through, we're going to put in the mohawk section, and we're not going to texturize our guideline. Of course, we could point cut, we could do whatever we want to do, but why would you point cut your guideline and make it that much harder to follow? And we go really deep into this. We use the board in the cutting the top video, and I've gotten some excellent response out of that. So if you guys really want to understand this technique so that you don't get scared when somebody walks in who wants, shears on top, you're going to be able to do that. So once we've established that mohawk guide, I'm just going to travel a little bit off to the edges with it, all the way down around the sides. And remember, we did the shear over comb area, so we're just basically going to be connecting to where we did the shear over comb area. And once we're done with that, it's going to be real easy. But now we need to blend in the bangs. So I left the bangs out of it. So now you're going to notice that I'm actually going to just tip the clip. I'm going to tip the comb up, and I'm going to leave that area alone in the very front. So I'm connecting my interior length to my exterior length, and that's going to help blend those bangs in. We're just going to direct it just like that, and you'll see that you'll actually make that connection between the interior to the exterior length. Now is a great time to throw in some texture, point cut. You could use your texturizing shears, whatever you might want to do, but I like to put some point cutting in this way because it's going to help the hair flow back in the style that I kind of had in mind before we got started. Okay, now we're about to go into the blend, but before we do, I'm going to dry this hair back into place because I want to set myself up. This whole time I've been sort of setting myself up for this moment so that I can actually enjoy the blend. I have everything done the way I wanted it to do, and now I'm getting a better picture as to how good my shear over comb was, what I missed, what I need to smooth out. So if you see anything, I would just go ahead and grab it because I want the parietal ridge area to look pretty good. I want that connection to look pretty good. It is going to change a little bit, but we're going to begin with the open taper, and we're going to try to mirror our original guideline. Now, let's remember we put our guideline in with this particular clipper in the closed position, and this clipper is going to be able to easily remove it. And no, I don't really have this zero gapped. The whole purpose of having a taper blade is for the soft cut. It's very forgiving, and I don't want it to cut as close as a fade blade or even using my fusion blade. So once that's being done, we're going to go to the number one. I start with it in the open position. I'm flicking out, and I'm trying to meet that length that I made with the number two. As you can see, the blend is going to come together pretty easy because we set up all that work in those preliminary steps. So now we'll drop that one. We're going to close that one down, stay a little bit lower, and then we're going to jump over to the zero. And the zero is when we're going to start working our corners. These gamma dubs are great. They lift the hair into position pretty good. You're not really going to have any issues with that. They cut a little better than the wall clips do. So we're just going to be able to wipe out that last little residual line. And what's great about doing this fade like this, like I definitely would consider this like a lower fade into some longer hair. And it's great because we're really staying where we meant to be. We're making the blend occur right where we actually want it. And of course, I'm going to go up with the 1 1/2 now and just kind of clean up, make that line meet. And on this side, I didn't do the zero yet, so I'm going to knock out the zero. So with that being said, all that is done, right? But I never did do that closed taper step, so that's going to be the last thing I do. And now that I have all that other stuff done, this is just going to come out super easy. So I'm going to begin with it open again, and I'm going to test the waters there using the corner. And I can go ahead and start clicking it down little by little until I'm satisfied with that line, making sure that line's gone. As you see, that's removing it pretty good. So when we do this step, we want to have a light hand, and we definitely want to be bouncing our corners and using just a little piece of the blade at a time, because if you make a mistake here, you're sort of starting over from scratch again, and you definitely don't want to have to overwork yourself, in these steps. So just be patient and let the clipper do the work. Now, if for some reason this didn't come out, that will happen to you sometimes. You can always return back to your trimmer, or you can try to return back to the closed taper, but you can return back to your trimmer. Now, what you see happening here was basically when I did my open taper step, I created a little bit of a weight area there. So I just slapped my 0 back on, and I know I'm good to go because those two are going to meet each other. I know that the 0 is going to be the next step. In this case, there's not a whole lot to edge up here, but in the edge up video, we definitely covered a lot of different edge ups. But basically all I'm really doing is I'm rounding out his C-cups. We're not going to do the front of his hairline, and we're going to just follow that up with the razor. And we also have the razor video too, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to throw a tiny bit of enhancements here in a second. But after I'm done with the razor, a lot of times you'll have a little bit of overhang, and when you have a little bit of overhang, just knock those little hairs off so it doesn't take away from the image. All right, so now we're getting towards the end of the haircut. I like the way the cut's looking, but I'm always going to check the silhouette, and that's what I saved this for, like phase 6. So this is a perfect time to understand how to do clipper over comb. Use your mirror, and you'll be able to make sure that one side's not sticking out more than the other. It could be the way the hair grows. It could be the way the hair lays. You know, so you just want to make sure that you address that. And I'm just going to kind of strengthen up his C-cups with a little bit of Tomb 45. I'm going to try to hide that scar a little bit there, throw some product in it, and this man is good to go. Good cut, happy with it. And you know, he actually used to get a number 2 on the back and sides until one day where I suggested, yo, let's do like a lower skin fade. I think it'd be great on your hair. And he ain't looking back. He is not looking back. So, all right, you guys, man, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I will see you again soon. If you get a chance, you want to help some younger barbers out, we are trying to collect some contributions for the Barber Tuition Initiative, and we're trying to deliver some tuition to people in need. So if you guys can help me out, that fundraiser will be down below. And until I see you guys in my next video, this is the YouTube Barber Academy. I'm Mr. Eddie Barber, and I'm out of here. Peace.